What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Base Damage. This week on the community deck submissions, once again, can be found over on our Discord page. There should be a link in the description to join our Discord. And there's a channel that we have so people can post their own deck submissions. And if I like it, I will end up probably making a video on it or something if you want. And this week, we have a Hololive deck build by my buddy Miroku. And he said he wanted to show off Roboco Standby. And I've helped a little bit with the process of making this deck as well, but he's the one that fine-tuned it and everything. And all of this is stuff that he has test played thoroughly multiple times. And this is the build he settled on, at least until Volume 2 drops, at which we might make some changes. So, but for now, let's just jump right into it. This is 4 standby and 4 salvage for the setup. To start off with the level 3s, we have this Rushia that's already very interesting because this is green, but it has an ability that says this can be played from your hand without fulfilling color requirements. So already pretty freaking, fun to be able to have that, but it also can just be standbyed in, so don't really care. When it's put into, so it's also a 3/2/8K. Reason it's so low though is because of its third effect. But the second effect is when this card is put into your waiting room from the stage, you can return this card to your hand. If you do, choose up to 1 Hololive character in your waiting room and put it into your stock. So if you have a standby, you can just opt not to, but if you just want to be able to summon it right back to hand, it's whatever. Or if you just want to add it back to your hand and then be able to get some stock off of that, it's whatever, you can do that. But when this card becomes reversed, if you have 2 or more other Hololive characters, and this card's battle opponent is level 3 or lower, you may put the top card of your opponent's clock in their waiting room. If you do, put that character into your opponent's clock. This is very interesting because it basically just guarantees that you're going to get rid of anything that your opponent has. Short of them having a level 3 that somehow has an effect, an ability that buffs its level up to 4 or something, which isn't very likely to ever happen. It means basically you could just run this into any level 3 that they own and hold dear to their heart and tell it to get the fuck off the field. So it's just a neat little tech, and he's found some enjoyment off of this. Whether it's against other standby decks or even just regular decks, just like, oh, you have something annoying, I'm gonna get it off the field. So, but you can hard cast it. Even though this deck does have green, it doesn't matter. You can hard cast it in any deck because it doesn't have to fulfill the color requirement. But just 1 copy of that because standby is a thing. Next, we have 2 copies of this hashtag Miko Art Sakura Miko. The 3/2/3/5. It's a 2K assist in front, heal on play from hand, and a brainstorm of pay 1, tap 2, mill 4 for each climax. Search your deck for a Hololive. 2 copies of this, really easy, always good to have with a standby target. Next, we have this Gurren Lagann. Wait, sorry, not Gurren Lagann. Leave It to Me, Roboco-san. Might as well be because of this is part of a fusion combo. It's a 3/2/10K. When this card is placed on the stage from your hand or by the fusion effect of the level 2, look at up to 3 cards from the top of your deck, choose a card amongst them, add it to your hand, put the rest to waiting room. So you can dig for the climax combo, which is when this card's battle opponent becomes reversed, you have Living Alongside Nature in your climax area, which is the salvage. You can pay 1 stock. If you do, deal 2 damage to your opponent. Like I said, it's very similar to Gurren Lagann in the fact of being able to just do the fusion, combine and summon it from the deck. It's just really cool. Next, we have 2 copies of this Towards the Future Together Hoshimachi Suisei. The 3/2/8/5. If you have 4 or more other Hololive characters, it gets -1 level while in hand. And it can be played from your hand without fulfilling color requirements. Once again, just can hard cast without having to worry about it. During your turn, it gets 500 power for each of your other Hololive characters, so a full field makes her a 10/5. When this card is placed on stage from hand, you can discard 1 card. If you do, put the top card of your clock into your stock. So stock healer can be played without fulfilling, without having to fulfill color requirements, because there's only 1 other blue card in here, and that's this Aqua, but you don't have to worry about getting it into your level or whatever. So it's all good, and heal to stock is always good. So that's gonna do it for the level 3s. A little bit it feels a little bit low for a standby build, but it's because you're more often than not just trying to summon like the level 2s from the standby. You're not trying to really go for a lot of the level 3s off of the standby. You're trying to get this to go off for the fusion stuff, which is going to be this Malfunction Roboco-san. It's a 2/1/15. It's typical Gurren Lagann shenanigans. On play, take 2 of the level 3 and put them from your waiting room to the bottom of the deck in any order, And you can put this in a Proud Roboco-san from your stage face up underneath it as a marker to summon the level 3 Roboco-san from the deck. And put both of this and the other Proud Roboco-san under it as a marker. That being said, Proud Roboco-san is typically a level 0. However, we have this one, which name counts as Proud Roboco-san. It's a level 1 that counts as that. So this can be offensive, and obviously like it can save itself, but we'll get to that in a second. But this does count as that name when it's on stage. So you can use that. So you'll use this and you'll use the level 1 to be able to pull off the fusion combo. The 4 copies of that. Next we have 4 copies of this Nakiri Art Scrolls Nakiri Ayame. It's a 1155 that gains 2k power if you have 2 or more other Hololive, and it has Character Encore. Typical standby target, but very powerful nonetheless. This one apparently struck a big chord. This other Roboco struck a big chord with Miroku. He really likes this after playing SAO. There's a level 1 Kirito that does this digging effect that this one has, and he's just was like, oh, this is a really powerful effect. It helps you mill, it helps you get more cards into the waiting room for your standby shenanigans as well, so very good with that. But it's a 1045, Wishing for a Future with You, Roboco-san. On play to stage from hand, it gains 1500 power till end of turn, making it a 6k. But it doesn't matter that it's weak defensively, because the second ability, you want it to die. When this card is put into your waiting room from the stage, you may reveal up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. If you reveal 1 or more cards, choose a Hololive from amongst them, add it to your hand, then discard 1 card. So the hand filtering is really good, and being able to obviously dig for your combo pieces and everything, trying to get the level 1 and the level 2 to get the fusion to go off. It's just really good, and you want to be able to try to get as much into your waiting room and get the waiting room set up for your standby, get your other combo pieces or your utility with like the brainstormers and whatnot. Especially because this one was also really freaking powerful. Then we have 3 copies of the Roboco-san, which counts as Proud Roboco. It's a 104k, but if you have 2 or more other Hololive characters, it gains an extra 2k power. So it can still be good offensively as well. So it's a 106k. At the beginning of your encore step, if you don't have another rested character in your center stage, you can pay 1 stock to rest her. So you can keep her alive to be able to pull off your fusion abilities. Really cool. And then to round out the level 1s, we have the level 1 Miko combo, Towards the Future Together Sakura Miko. It's a 1035. If you have another Hololive character, it gains an extra 2k, making her a 1055. And her climax combo is when the battle opponent becomes reversed. If you have the standby in play, you can choose a character in your waiting room and return it to your hand. So on reverse salvage, plenty of ways to buff this up and be able to make her be able to pull that off. Once again, mostly off of that, just trying to grab your combo pieces, because you play the standby. You can at level 1, you can summon like the level 2 Roboco in the backstage. Use her climax combo. Maybe grab the level 1 from waiting room. So then the follow up turn, you go fusion done. I can't tell you how many times he pulled out a freaking level 3 at level 1. It's just hilarious. So that's it for the 1s. Getting into the 0s, we have a total of 5, 9, 11, 14 level 0s. If I'm doing my math correctly, I probably am not, but we had this Tokino Sora. When your other 0th gen character is put into your waiting room from the stage, if this card is in your backstage, you can pay 1 and put this card into your waiting room. If you do, return that character to its previous stage position as rested, and it gets 3000 power until the end of the next turn. Now, Roboco is 0th generation, whereas stuff like Ayame is 2nd generation, but you're looking more than anything to get, like, maybe recycle this level 1 Roboco that does the Kirito effect, where you can top check 3 and whatnot. Basically, anything Roboco in here, you're going to be able to save. I'm just going to double check. That's 4th generation. Fubuki is 1st. Miko is 0th, so you could bring back this Miko. Between the Mikos and the Robocos is probably what you're going to be trying to go for with this first effect. The second effect is a Brainstorm. Pay 1, tap this, mill 4. For each climax, salvage back a character. So, really good there. And I guarantee you he used this effect with a 3k power buff a lot. Like, he would encore with this, and then, like, pay 3 encore to save this Sora and bring it back and just reuse it. So, really powerful. 2 copies of that. Then we have 3 copies of Towards the Future Together. Shirakami Fubuki is a 001k. When this is placed on stage from hand, choose another Hololive. Gains 1500 power till end of turn. Typically just buff up the Miko for their on reverse. When this card is put into your waiting room from the stage, you can discard a card. If you do, look at up to 4 cards from the top of your deck. Choose up to 1 level 1 or higher card from amongst them, reveal it to your opponent, put it into your hand, put the rest into the waiting room. You can't grab Standby, but you can grab any of your level 1 and higher characters with it, obviously. But this can grab events if you ran this in a deck with events. So, 3 copies of that, and to round out the last of the Brainstormers is this Simple Question Tokoyami Toa. It has an alarm effect. I don't think he ever used this alarm effect one time, but it is a thing where if it's the top card of your clock at the beginning of your climax phase, you can choose a character. It gets the Twin Drive effect, where on attack, you can pay 1 stock to perform your trigger check twice. So, the Brainstorm, though, is the main thing you're using this for, is pay 1, tap itself, mill 4 for every climax, search your deck for Hololive. So, really good there. So you got waiting room salvage, you got deck search salvage, really good. 2 copies of this Thanks for Waiting, Sakura Miko, is a 0035. It has the downside because it is oversized. All of your opponent's characters get a encore of 2 stock, not 3. So it is a little bit of a downside, but it's a pay 1, it's an on play, pay 1, pitch 1, search your deck for a Hololive, and it's really big. This is I'm gonna be real, this is probably the most expensive card in the deck, I think. I don't know. But this isn't a budget deck. This is Community Friday deck. So, yeah, 2 copies of that and 2 copies of Perfect Measures Taken, Roboco-san. On play, you can return 2 Hololive cards from your waiting room to your deck. If you do, choose a Hololive you control. It gains 1,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn. You can buff up that Miko even more. And speaking of buffing, there's more buffing. When your climax is placed on your climax area, you can bounce this back to your hand, choose one of your characters, and it gets 1,000 power until the end of your opponent's next turn as well. You could just do this in like the same turn that you go to do the Miko. It's an extra, it's like a 7/5 before anything else. You can make certain that this Miko is going to reverse stuff, showing just how truly elite she can be. And then obviously it bounces back to hand, so you got a slot open to drop the standby target in. Really good. 2 copies of that, and to round it out, we have Yamada Hermione? Minato Aqua is a 005k. If it's in the middle position of your center stage, this gets 3k power. When this card is put into the waiting room from your stage, you can pay the cost, which is 1 stock, and putting a Hololive character from your waiting room on the bottom of your clock. If you do, look at up to 2 cards from the top of your deck, choose up to 2 Hololive characters from among them, reveal them to your opponent, put them into your hand, put the rest into your waiting room. You can get a lot of advantage off of this. Basically, unless you reveal climaxes, whatever you reveal is going to your hand. You don't run events in this deck, so this is just a really strong card overall, and it's just a common, which is crazy. Obviously, that is it, 3 copies of that. That is it for the level 0s. Obviously, rounding out the climaxes, Living Alongside Nature for the Roboco climax is a 1k1 salvage trigger, and Meeting with 35p is a standby trigger for the Miko combo. And that is going to do it. Big thank you to Miroku for submitting this deck list. If you want to submit your own deck list, please check the description box. It should have a link to our Discord. Look for the deck submission channel. And basically make a deck up here on Decklog. And you can post it in there. If I like it, I'll make a video on it, because I like this format because I can just pull this up and you can see the card very clearly. So please make it on Decklog if you decide to post it. But please, if you want to submit your own deck list, by all means. If not, hey, just join the Discord and have some fun. Please like and subscribe, and we will see y'all on the flip side. Peace out for now.